watching the clock, 10,000 hours go by. I keep putting in work, the tears are filling my eyes. I swear I've never been tested like this, but this is mine. It's not a matter of chance, just a matter of time. Never look back. If something standing in my way, I always push back. If something seemed impossible, I never took that. Nah, cause now I know better. Can't stop, won't stop, I won't quit ever.
The farthest won't take me, the highest fall it won't break me. The blood and sweat is what made me, made me.
I'ma get mine, just a matter of time.
Welcome back everyone to the LCK. This is Joe helping you guys with the translation for Dangun and Bitto as they cover what just happened with MVP trying to fight against Griffin, but with Griffin ultimately coming out on top in that game one. Shows their dominance once again and kind of the distance and the gap they place themselves ahead of MVP, and we'll see basically MVP trying to make their efforts into trying to get into this game, but in the end a conclusion was set on by Griffin, and that became something that MVP had no control over. We'll try to see some of the efforts obviously MVP will try to put out in trying to get to this game and trying to have a chance to get the win, but we'll see how Griffin touted them in the end. And really looking at where Zach might be in this round, and you just don't know if you are MVP. Very much the max distance there, trying to pull the two champions together. And now the sleep does go through from Chovy's Trouble Bubble, and really just goes through with so much damage. And in the end, even this Chen not tanking enough to tank all that damage, and really much an easy kill, starting off with the Zach. Creating that distraction, just hiding in that river bush. It does put a lot of aggression towards Griffin to pull that kill through. So really good kill by Chovy, but more so just an easy routine kill. That would have came a little bit less if MVP found it a little bit more careful, but we do have another scene right around the team fight which changed the tide of the game, and something just calmness and just consistency, and just a way you can just really remain calm through all this process. And really tough visionary for the entire side of Griffin. You see basically the taunt trying to come through, and Shen coming through with the ultimate. Chovy goes right away on the stasis, and Lehans and Tarzan, Chovy all try to fight together with. You already see Lehans very quick on knocking the cannon away. It really is, obviously. Tarzan does end up going into the blobs, but to get back, just putting a lot of time by Sword. As you can see, everybody from MVP was focusing all their energy into getting the bloblets, and they are the ones to pull off the one kill. But here's where the real fight begins, because Sword, literally knowing they put all the skill shots into killing the one Zach, Sword just basically had the vulnerable side of the entire MVP organization. And here they are, just with that really nice ultimate from the earlier instance, and to chasing this cannon until forever end. Means that the Ezreal is going to finish him off, and Viper showing skills once again along with the entire side of Griffin. Even though they traded out one champion, they used that to their advantage to make sure they reap the most rewards out of that instance as much as they can. Of course, after those instances, MVP did make their efforts, try to get the win, but it was ultimately Griffin who looked a lot better. Let's see what the fans had to say. And we actually just hear that the Zoe is still very much an OP champion. Not banned out in many instances now in the LCK for a lot of the other reasons, but for now it just seems like the fans are still believers in the fact that the Zoe at the LCK level is showing very good stuff. And Obviously, ADD coming in has that #1 rank in solo queue. It does not really prove to a win for MVP this time around, but they're still happy that he is back from his sickness, which is the best thing that we can have for MVP. But for the meantime, as we get into game 2, we're going to hear from Bito what he has to say about the one-line summary. He hit a good one today. Hope he continues on with his strikes here. See what he can get here. I think he would just, no, he's going to do it again! He said the zipper's open. He said Zach is open. You guys got to talk to Bito yourselves personally and just really tell him not to overuse the same one-line summaries. I can't do it from here, but you guys are closer to him than I am. But I hope he can get that done. But that is the end of the session, and handing it back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Joel. Yes, I too am a little bit disappointed. We probably shouldn't have said anything because maybe we've got people that haven't watched the previous series. But MVP, pretty understandably, I believe, should be going over to Viper. Even the Korean fans saying, can he even miss a Q? There he is.
700 points on the season. I feel for Joel. I think he's aged quite a lot.
I think he
the
really
translation
has.
of the one-line
He
summaries.
used to be so upbeat when it was just MVP interviews.
We're not
now
even
he's
joking.
jaded.
He was so upbeat
He
back in
was.
the day, but today's not that day.
Nope.
As today was the day that Viper confirmed that he can play these marksman guys, apparently.
He's pretty damn good at it as well, going for the double tier Ezreal and making it look about as busted as Prey was earlier on today. But Tarzan also needs an honorable mention.
And Motive as well.
Oh god, that's a dishonorable mention. That's a different one.
He, didn't
See
know.
your death.
He didn't realize that you can't taunt through the Let's Bounce and not just also be bounced over. And that was after he'd already died 3 times. So, yeah, maybe out with the Shen on Motive, and maybe even Motive himself and bring Max back. We'll wait and see. That's the decision from the side of MVP. But for Griffin, Viper had moments like this where you say, okay, he avoided every skill shot and hit every Q.
Yep, and waited for every button to be on cooldown and then chased MVP to the ends of the earth whilst hitting literally every single button. Even every Essence Flux landed. As I'm going to count the Arcane Shift's damage because he managed to start off the Krug camp for himself at the same time. Wanted to leash that. It's just a bit of a masterclass here from Griffin as far as team fight execution on an Ezreal is concerned. We need to talk about ADD. His return to the MVP lineup was certainly one that you would not be disappointed at if you're an MVP fan. His cannon looked very, very good. One of the better cannons into the Gnar that we've seen in the laning phase, but unfortunately, yet again, it's a poor outcome for the Cannon team when it comes to that matchup.
We'll see where things go for ADD. It's nice to see him back. He seemed in good touch, even with being away from competitive play and, of course, even just solo queue for a long while. There's going to be a player change. I'm hoping this is in the support role.
Yeah, well, we could actually see it. He was poking his head in from the booth, and it is going to be Motive taking his leave, and Max going back in, and that's one hell of a last picks. Oh, that's beautiful. He ain't trolling, by the way, guys. The Mordekaiser was a win.
I mean, I love the expression of also like, I'm back, guys.
And also, like, it's the, I'm proud of myself, and yet I know that this looks ridiculous. That was his face. Oh, stunning. And
yet,
so incredibly Max.
He might even find a champion more ill-suited to the support role and play it anyway.
Yeah, he's done that before.
He has a quadra kill on Sion already.
He does. I want to see the Poppy. I want the Poppy lane. Maybe we'll just like, how far away from Joy lane and Nivea Poppy are we, Papa?
Oh my god, the synergy!
The dream!
What about Trundle Poppy?
Oh, what about a Nivea Vayne? It's very similar. Okay, Trundle Poppy's too hard.
How's Evelynn support post-6?
Well, I don't think you get much use out of the camouflage.
It's definitely better than pre-6.
That's true. That is definitely true. Evelynn support. Oh, that laning face. That's beautiful.
Charming.
Yeah, amazing. Okay, thank God the coaches are now entering the booth, and we are heading towards Champion Select for game number 2, potentially. Our last game of the evening, being one of the shortest nights in recent history thus far, and we're hoping that MVP can turn that one around. We had a 9-game day only a few days ago. I want to keep that ship a-rolling. Griffin versus MVP, game number 2, Champion Select is upon us. Let's get that AR on your screen and see what MVP can do now from the blue side, and they're going to ban the Shen. Don't worry, guys. Motive has left. You're okay.
But
you don't need to
Lehens
ban
is
it.
still in, so they want to respect the Shen.
I know, I was being silly. Shen going to be taken away, Griffin. Aatrox is going to come out first off, but what do they change? What is going to be... Oh, no! For the first time, I'm wrong. Talia banned first.
True. Aatrox left open so far.
Yeah, he's probably going to be banned second, isn't he? Is
Or
MVP going
is
to ban
he?
Viper's Vladimir?
And they get a Aatrox ban out of MVP, is what Griffin is thinking about, but they're not going to play with their food too much.
Yeah.
They will ban it second just to alter the spot in which he's banned.
Find it interesting that he moves to second place instead, but maybe wanting to give Yondu all of the respect because his Talia was pretty damn good.
Do you just ban Trundle for the they're really good at these champions bans on the side of MVP? I imagine Yondu could first pick the Trundle if he wanted, but unfortunately, results-wise, he is 0-5 on Trundle.
Yeah, he doesn't have a lot of great win rates, but that's one of the extra bad ones. That is very true. And as far as Trundle for Tarzan is concerned, you don't get a much better win rate than that.
I think Griffin just looks at these bans and says, I guess Ezreal time. So we'll see if Viper will show us. I want to see Viper on a different marksman. That's what I would like to see. Maybe the Kai'Sa in a duo lane. I want to see him on a losing matchup. I want more data points about Viper on the marksman. Maybe we'll be granted that in this game. First pick here could be the Sejuani.
Could be Zoe again for Ian. He has had some decent performances.
That's true.
We'll be following the same script that Griffin did in game number 1, taking away the Zoe.
Chovy
What does
could
Chovy
just
have for answers?
Orianna into it in the first round here. Could also be an Orianna flex pick. He's played Galio before, could go there.
A few different options. Could play the LeBlanc, which is considered a pretty damn good matchup, into the Zoe as well. A lot of different things that he can head towards.
I'd like first round Orianna and the potential of the flex to bot lane, but the Yasuo is a flex pick for the side of Griffin.
Yeah, I like the Yasuo into the Zoe matchup as well.
Don't know for sure that's what's going to be, as Orianna
the beauty
Yasuo
of it, right? Yeah.
was that duo they were doing. That would pigeonhole them a bit more, but they're going to actually extend the hover, just take a jungler here and take away Yondu's precious, the Sejuani.
Yeah, bit of a problem there for Yondu. Definitely his best performing jungler so far, but he could take the other side of the matchup. He could pick up the Zac if he wants to in this game. Could just run back the entire Griffin composition, just pick up the Zac and the Alistair, but looks like the Gragas is going to be considered, at least for a moment, and would be very flexible for MVP.
Goes in 3 different roles, but recently it's been mostly support. So
Wow.
wait and see what's happening there. It's also something that combos really well with the Yasuo, wherever the Yasuo is going. So in terms of denial, feels pretty good to remove the Gragas from the side of Griffin.
I'd love to see Yondu on the Gragas. His Gragas did look definitely the best, especially in his first game of the season on the champion. Rakan was left available in MVP. They can pick it up here. It's not ideal timing because you'd like to get the Xayah along with it. But I think that Max just wants to be on a champion that he can have all of the initiation priority on. And Rakan certainly fits that bill.
See what Griffin want to do about the final pick on red side. They haven't pigeonholed themselves into anything yet in the draft. They'd like some knockups so that Yasuo has some synergy, and they may have drafted their complete bot lane. We're not to know. They have the Yasuo and Alistair on the red side.
The absolute dream.
Usually you'd see some coverage bans if you wanted to run this in the duo lane. There's annoying picks that can really take away your fun, like the Soraka support, for example, and the Vladimir at the start of the season.
And now will Griffin just ban away something like Xayah Ashe or something like that from MVP? Understanding that Pilot will wanting to be playing an awesome dude. Looks like it's going to be the Varus over the Ashe. They did ban Ashe in game number 1, which is why it was the first one that I thought of. Xayah feels like a bit of a no-brainer, but we'll see what happens here. They might just let it go through and pick themselves up something on the bottom side. Galio to be banned away here by MVP.
They seem to think it'll be the bot lane Yasuo, a 3rd game in a row from the times that Griffin have played it, twice against Gen G. Both of them are losses. Viper, the man on your screen, was playing it that day. Definitely don't have to be married to that idea. Chovy has some excellent mechanics, as we well know, on the Yasuo.
And also, it's a decent matchup into the Zoe. I wouldn't understand why you wouldn't just throw that one into the mid lane. Xayah, the understandable final ban here by Griffin to take away the Lovers duo. Now, MVP, do you just ban Orianna? Get rid of that one? Because then that would be further flex if they were to lock that one in.
Could ban a Gnar, I guess, because Sword is very likely to take that one. We're not expecting there to be a top lane Yasuo. There's been none this season so far. Well, let's see what MVP do ban away.
3 seconds to go before that final ban has to be locked in. They take the entire time, and Mundo going to be the final choice against Sword. Does like his tanks, but feels like Cho'Gath is the more likely option if you're just going to go for a plug-and-play top lane tank.
I'd love to see
Wow.
Viper on the duo lane Kai'Sa. That's what this would be indicating. Alistair Kai'Sa, not the strongest lane on paper, but man, can it pop off in team fights.
I also love it if you're going to run a Yasuo in the mid lane.
Is that on purpose?
Uh-oh. Okay.
Uh-huh. Well, that's usually a problem. That's usually a big mistake.
Is this another classic Korean pickup of the Teemo accidentally? Would this be the third time? Is it the third or fourth time?
Shy and Someday in the same season this happened. Had to play top lane Teemo. That's where the Teemo went, as there is a Teemo.
There is a Teemo. There is a Teemo. That is a Teemo. He's like, oh, Kai'Sa, really good champion, but wait, what's even better if you build AP? It's probably not Teemo, Viper, to be honest. Is ADD looking for a blind pick top lane? The Cho'Gath, like we were talking about before, is an option. Singed would be fun. ADD teaching Max how to play it. He's just hovering it just to let us know that, yes, I feed it. I fed on this champion a lot. I'm not going to pick it. It's going to be the Cho'Gath for ADD topside.
Well, it seems like we're going through the draft, so the Teemo is sticking on the side of Griffin.
Yeah.
Unsure where the Teemo is going. Everyone seems generally hyped in the audience. They'll see a Teemo.
I feel like it will be on the bottom side. I feel like it'll be Viper's Teemo. I feel like Viper was making a decision for himself and said, look, the power of this lane is undeniable, and I will pick the Teemo.
Alistair Teemo doesn't strike me as a combo lane that really makes too much sense, but sure.
Yeah, well, it happened. I don't know. I wonder what the build's going to be. Nashor's Tooth into maybe a Hurricane. Let's do some AoE Teemo damage.
Stormrazor, baby.
Yeah, Stormrazor Teemo. Stormrazor Rapid Fire Cannon Infinity Edge. He just builds it like a really terrible version of Caitlyn or something with lower range. All right, well, that's Teemo, ladies and gentlemen. We're making fun of it. Maybe Griffin have a plan. Is this another one of their ridiculous thoughts? I'm looking over. I can see the Korean cast, Custer Jun, going completely ballistic, just laughing his head off alongside with our Cloud Templar as well, a bit head in hands at the moment. So no one really understanding why the Teemo was picked, but here it is. And we're going to be getting into game with the Teemo. Pop Smithy?
I don't want to talk anymore. I don't really have anything to say about the Teemo. It seems bad in the composition, but, you know, Viper's pretty good at League of Legends. Let's see if he can prove it on the Teemo.
Yeah, and I mean, you can see there are some startled looks on the side of Griffin. Haven't actually checked out the solo queue of Viper all that recently. So maybe I can do a little bit of research as we're getting into this game to see whether or not he has been spamming the bottom lane Teemo. Have a feeling that it's unlikely.
Yeah. Well, he's going to go for the Easter skin, so at least he's got his skins on.
Yep.
It's quite adorable.
I think is that what we're going to talk about? Yes, he's going to play with an interesting skin. He's still playing Teemo.
Uh-huh.
Ezreal Rakan is going to be in there. He hasn't, just to let you know, guys, on his main account, solo queue, hasn't played any Teemo. So, yeah, that's just how it's going to be. Game 2, Griffin versus MVP. We got a Teemo in the bottom lane for some unknown reason. It's going to be exciting, whatever it is. Let's get on to Summoner's Rift.
미니언 생성까지 30초 남았습니다.
We had a Teemo fighting from the
Teemo
crowd.
fighting.
Well, there he is.
Yep, he is in the game. Can confirm, Teemo is here. He's got himself Summoner Airy, just to be incredibly annoying. Often you see Ignite if you're in solo queue. Often you don't see Teemo if you're anywhere where, you know, things are good.
Little known fact, I became a caster to get away from Teemo because
Exactly.
if you play the game, you have to deal with Teemo. If you don't play the game and cast it, very rarely have to deal with Teemo.
Yeah, unless it's the TSM versus Mineski game. Or
Yeah.
a few of the accidental Teemos that we've had here in Korea. See what Griffin can actually do. If this is a thing that works and we start seeing more Teemo, I'm gonna lose my mind. And the last LCK match with Teemo was Someday. It was the Someday loss where they accidentally picked Teemo. It wasn't supposed to be Teemo, but it was Teemo, and he got dumpstered, I believe.
So you guys know, the problem that happened was that CJ hovered the Teemo and then it got locked in, so Shy had to play it. And then Katie thought it was so funny that they also hovered it, and it got locked in and they had to play it. So just the fact that it was Someday, the player who has not been in Korea for the 4 splits now, lets you know that it was quite a while ago.
Twas. All right, well, they are currently doing pretty well.
It may have been a first ever duo lane Teemo also in Korea, ever.
Yeah.
In fact, it probably is.
Have you seen a duo lane Teemo in competitive play in any other region either, Papa Smithy? I've never...
I watch a lot of League of Legends and know now that you mention it.
Yeah, I haven't seen this one. This is a new thing. I've been playing a lot of top lane recently, so I'm actually incredibly upset at the moment.
So let's talk about what Teemo provides. He provides a lot of rage from most people that are watching the game.
Yeah, a blind, which is good into an auto-attacking champion. Pilot not necessarily on the quintessential auto-attacker, but good Ezreals will be auto-attacking, weaving in their Mystic Shots.
Map control around the Baron and the Drake. You can definitely set up there in some interesting ways. I don't really see the combo potential with the Alistair, as Headbutt Pulverize into auto attack and Q is a trade, I guess.
Headbutt Pulverize into Mushroom auto attack and blind.
I think the arm time is pretty quick, so you could probably actually pull that off.
Yeah, now that you can throw him, you've got a bit of decent range on him now. The old Teemo Shrooms.
And you know what? Now teams that play Griffin in the future, if they win with this, have to think about what if Teemo.
And I have to now think of Teemo ability names, which is making me very upset.
By the way, do not play Korean solo queue tonight.
Well, don't even worry about it, Papa. People play too much damn Teemo that I'm banning him anyway.
All right, well, that's a good choice for a ban. Guys, if you're going into Korean solo queue, definitely, safety first, just ban the Teemo.
Yeah. In fact, if you're going into any solo queue, just ban Teemo. You'll just have a better time. It feels better to be beaten by a Darius. I can say that right now. It feels better to be beaten by a Darius than it is to be beaten by a Teemo.
Teemo not the strongest range, so he's going to have to definitely be careful about when he walks up, when the Rakan is definitely going to be in grand entrance range for the majority of Teemo's play.
Has the stopwatch, as he's gone into Inspiration second, understandably. See whether it will be just straight AP. Seen a few different things, sort of, when you're looking at what Teemos want to build. Nashor's Tooth is a good one, but you can just see Leandri's come out straight away, just because it does work so well with your Shrooms.
What is your laning item, I wonder? If you're going for, I imagine, an on-hit build, a Nashor's Tooth kind of build, but I'm not sure. His top side.
Yep, Tarzan's actually looking for this one as ADD is going to use the flash. Oh, that Rupture was god tier. And he's just going to saunter his way out. No worries there at all. Does have the flash now on cooldown.
You couldn't have played that any better, really. If you're ADD, should have died 9 out of 10 times. That was the 1 out of 10. ADD says, well, my mechanic's still in, guys, and gets away.
What the heck did they have in that hospital, Papa Smithy? I want to go and have some of that hospital food.
Apparently a laptop for League of Legends, baby.
And he's only played one League of Legends game on his main account as well. He's been smurfing there the whole time. He went into a hyperbolic ADD time chamber. Is that what it was? Teleport's going to come in as ADD. Is this what he learned when he was in the hyperbolic time chamber?
He learned to help out his jungler.
Yeah.
Maybe it was
Yondu
League of
gonna be able
Legends
to do it.
hospital.
Damn. It's Christmas. Santa Gragas here. We've got Teemo on the other side of the map. We're getting very festive. As our Sword's going to continue pushing this one up. ADD certainly did have the ability to get up there because his wave was shoved all the way to the turret. Sword's going to have an opportunity to pick up a bit of a CS advantage, but the Cho'Gath straight up doesn't care about that. He's a big dinosaur. And he's now going to have Yondu moving up here towards the top as well. Slow is going to come in onto Sword, but a little bit early for any potential actual gank. Just going to buy some space here.
Also, Sword in the shenanigans hit level 6, so perhaps not the time to make a play as bot side.
Viper going to be taking up the turret as Tarzan. Lots of damage. Headbutt Pulv. Max is definitely dead. Can they juggle the aggro, though? As Viper, he's going to help pick up the second kill. Almost dies to the turret, but he survives. And Griffin, double kill bottom lane.
Double kill in the Teemo lane. No kills to Teemo.
Can we call
no
it bottom
problem.
lane? Can we call it, please, Papa Smithy?
Well, we just don't know where the team is going in terms of build. However, those 2 kills come against double teleport and the death time is being short. So,
Yeah.
not going to be a turret going down. Remember, guys, 8-13. Before level 8, the death time is much shorter. We didn't start the game with a full zoom on the teamer. That was actually a mistake by our observers. But this is just auto attack into Q, proccing the summoner Airy. They probably hoped that Max would tick down to the teamer damage to give him a kill. He doesn't. They get the double kill onto the jungler, and now Tarzan's going to be damn tanky.
He is. Okay. And also, Lehens once again starts the game with a lot of kill participation. Is in fact participating in 100% of them thus far, as we're just going to see Teemo bouncing down the lane. Observer, come on. What are you doing? Do you know what this feels like? It feels like that banned Pokemon episode that, like, the one that gave, like, an epileptic fit to, like, thousands of Japanese people. I feel like zooming in on Teemo has the potential to be that dangerous.
It will definitely trigger thousands of people.
Exactly.
Viper's going for, I imagine, Ludens first, because he has the Lost Chapter. I guess you could go GLP, but to me, Ludens and the annoyance of stepping on a Ludens shroom.
Yep, Ludens does make a lot of sense. There's Yondu, spotted by a ward, and Ian going to be playing defensively. Yondu actually really likes this ward. He's going to continue wandering over the top of it. Griffin back down towards the bottom side as Viper just going to be frustrating.
Still Teemo. We need an interview with Griffin so they can ask the obvious question of, was it a mistake?
I guess this is another champion that is a combination of auto-attacking marksman and mage. I know.
I'm not going to entertain you with a response.
Fair enough. Well, he's going 1v2 now and destroying Max with that poison damage.
Level 6, 1 shroom now on one of the gank paths here. They spot Yondu, who's going to be around the area.
Yep, the poke build coming in, of course, when you're going AP, it's the blinding dart. Max into get your shrooms in there. You're going to do a lot of burst damage.
Shroom placement, always a fun thing to look at.
Yeah, it does add extra vision here if we're talking about actual honest-to-goodness advantages Teemo gives you.
Again, and control around objectives, Baron and Infernal. You're very happy to get an Infernal first spawn if you have a Teemo bot side, because he can make it so the enemy jungler has all those rakes to step on and hit him in the face.
Yeah.
Sideshow Bob understands. Get brush control as well. It's very unlikely for Teemo Alistair to get lane control, but after the turret dive, they have pretty extensive lane control here. They can put down deep shrooms. Usually, Teemo will be outranged, and even the support is going to have a more threat than Alistair most of the time, because Alistair only has one direction in a team fight, and the Rakan can go in and out. Yondu's here to try to punish the short range of Griffin.
They are going to hear that the Dragon is going to go down relatively soon, understanding that they have to deal with the Sejuani being in relatively close proximity. Chovy's moving down, though. No, he's not. Actually, there's the Flash Grand Entrance. The quickness comes down as well, and Viper goes into stopwatch, but he's most likely still going to die. He is, as Tarzan gets out of the way of a trouble bubble, and Ian, he ain't done yet as Lehens. He's level 6. He does have the ultimate, but he's going to use the Flash in order to get his way out from MVP. 4 members bottom lane. The Teemo Global Taunt in great effect.
1 CC hits, and Lehens will die even with his ultimate. Smart to flash first and have his ultimate for the laning phase. Viper goes down. The moment he got bounced in, he wastes the stopwatch. Shouldn't have done that.
Wastes the Flash as well to get out. So also a little bit of a problem as Lehens taking a bunch of damage here. Tarzan going to pick up the minion wave, and Chovy getting some spare time in the mid lane is what Griffin are going to be able to pick up after that. But a good kill going over to MVP. They'll keep it to a 400 gold game. Let's have a look at this.
Yondu was out of vision the entire time, and then Max makes the engage. That's what we're talking about. Teemo's auto attack range is very short, so should always be in range of Grand Entrance or Flash ult as a Rakan. Flash ult can only happen so many times, but he goes down. Viper's going to clear out some wards. One thing we can talk about with Griffin's Club away from the Teemo is that we're very likely to reach a point where Sword and Chovy can hit the side lane, and there won't be 2 opponents on the side of MVP that can match them. So 1-3-1 is actually surprisingly really powerful for Griffin, because the top and the bot side is going to be a Yasuo and an R, and then Teemo can shroom around all the flank entrances for coming in for a fight, and thus the Teemo will be relatively safe in the 3 as well. That's a little thing. So 1-3-1, when that's enacted, and if it's an even gold game or better, should be actually very oppressive from the Griffin side.
Right now, Griffin are just trying to fight for some control here on the bottom side of the map. Blinding darts continually being thrown onto Max just to stop his engage potential from being too dangerous. He's going to be jumping in, of course. Being low on health is something that's good for the team that's going to get engaged on, as Max now down to half health. Tarzan going to look for the ultimate. Oh, finds it after the arcane shift, but doesn't get it after the flash. But that is still the flash now on cooldown for Pilot.
And some summoners now, no flash for MVP on the bot side, as Max used his before. Sword is still going to continue building for lane and being happy against the Cho'Gath. Chovy in the mid lane, very competitive against the against the Zoe. Went Hex Drinker and going to go work into a Phantom Dancer, so slowed down his build. Showing a bit of respect there as Sejuani wasn't coming mid.
Yeah, a few different options for the Yasuo here in this lane. A lot of them just like to build for the Sterix a little bit earlier, but I do like having the Hex Drinker, despite the fact that the cooldown reduction on the more of Malmortius makes you feel a little bit silly, but more Wind Walls is good.
And everything that isn't the teamer really interacts well with Chovy in a team fight. He actually has a lot of setup for the last breath, whether it's the Gnar ultimate or Alistar Headbutt Pulverize. They're the two reliable ways to set up a fight. So, once again, game plan here for Griffin. Hit the 1-3-1 at your right item timings, and then so many reliable ways to set up the last breath means that this could be a game that's hard carried by the Yasuo.
Yeah, and at the moment, things looking pretty good for Sword as well on the top side of the map. Looks like he's going to be building towards his Wit's End as the first item, as ADD is going to be largely magic damage. Yondu, considering a gank here on the bottom side, but he's going to be thwarted and discovered. Ian's going to turn up as well. Able to stay out of vision relatively easily, but Viper now just littering the area with these Easter eggs. And it's going to mean that MVP do not want to risk it. You stand on a shroom at the wrong time here in this lane if you're going for a dive, and you could just look really, really dumb.
Especially if a counter gank comes through as you're slowed and taking a bit of that ticking damage, Atlas. So
yeah.
They actually had deep control wards, did Tarzan. He was going to be able to be there eventually, and MVP had incomplete information. So smart of them to not look for that, but I understand the play. Already tonight, so many teams. Ezreal bot lane, come around, end the laning phase, and then rotate the Ezreal around to get the outer ring. That is the standard playbook with the Ezreal, and it's something they'd like to implement, but for now, going to be slowed down a bit.
The thing that I do like, I guess, about having the Teemo in this game as well is that you can wave clear from a very long way by just littering the lane with shrooms. So as the minion wave moves up, they all die to the mushrooms as they get towards turrets. So you can get a lot of extra lane control with a Teemo if you can at least get the setup on the map with the little rodent.
I do like that you use the term littering, though, because that's what I think of.
Well,
I think of it in the...
the littering's already happened by
yes.
Griffin, as Lehens will have to use the ultimate. Is going to survive, of course, but now Griffin without the opportunity of engaging with their Alistar, which is huge. This dive certainly a possibility now, as Yondu once again going to move over and try and get himself in position for it. Not a lot of on-demand wave clear here, as Viper, yep, little scout is going to use his extra movement speed with a W to try and get up the lane. And Griffin back down here, but Ian does land the trouble bubble onto the Sejuani. MVP still don't want to fight for it.
They got quite a lot of time. You'll notice not a lot of turret damage being done. Usually these plays from MVP are set plays when the turret's low, but the turret's not actually that low, Atlas. So
yeah. It's
actually wasting a lot of time from MVP. They're going to need a couple more visits. Yondu fishing.
Yeah, Flash once again going to come out of Lehens. Yondu's very squishy at the moment. Has gone for that Runic Echoes. There's the flash forward. The Arctic Assault is in. Immediately flashes to get out. A Pulverize comes in. A really nice ultimate from Tarzan as Max is going to just barely survive. Ian, over the side, doesn't land the trouble bubble as Sword and ADD still fighting on the top side. But man, that was close on the bottom of the map.
Griffin just waiting for their chances. Ian does the chase, won't get the kill.
That was his actual flash.
Yeah. Not really sure about why he used his actual flash, but it certainly wasn't in...
I'm not sure why Griffin picked Teemo, but you know, these things happened, and they happened today. Sword trying to find the solo kill onto ADD. Now underneath the turret.
Again, the play from MVP is the right one, but the timing is wrong. They need more chip damage to actually set up for a 4-man dive. It's going to take too long. It's going to take 3 minion waves for them to take down the turret. And so much is going to happen on the map if Griffin doesn't come. And it's so much time for Griffin to think about things and then come later and set up for a fight. So they had so much time to communicate that MVP were never realistically going to get the turret. And this ends up being a bit muddied play by MVP.
Max doesn't have flash, remember, so this Rakan very squishy. Possible to take him down as Ian. He's going to stopwatch. That's going to buy space for Griffin, potentially. Decide not to go for it. Headbutt Pulv was available, as well as the ult from Chovy, but Ian's going to walk away from this one.
Well, Teemo doing more damage in lane than the Ezreal.
Yep, he's just been spamming his Q onto Max over and over again. This is what we're talking about. You just chuck the shrooms down, and Teemo has a pretty easy time clearing out minion waves. And Luden's Echo, like you were saying, is going to be the pickup.
Arguably an easier time than the Ezreal.
Yeah.
Both of those champions criticized for having very little on-command wave clear, which is always a highly prized thing, solo lane or no.
Yep. True Shot Barrage, probably the closest thing to Ezreal's ability to do that. But, like you say, Viper now, with his Luden's Echo freshly done, will be much better when it comes to taking down these waves.
I want to draw your attention to the build from Sword. He went Phage, Boots 2 into the Null Magic Mantle Negatron Cloak. So he didn't rush into Wit's End first. The theory here is you want to get movement speed so you can sidestep the Rupture and any potential all-ins from ADD, rather than just focusing on, I do a lot of damage with my auto attacks. So yeah. I prefer this build because it still does what you want. You're still going to get a lot of harass onto ADD, but by the time you finish the Wit's End, you have enough points in Hyper to really pay off what the Wit's End provides them.
Oh, Mountain Drake now being picked up here by MVP is Chovy's looking for Ian, doesn't get the knock-up as Windwall flies through as well. That's now on cooldown, it's Lehens, he's here. Spots 3 at the Drake. Can they do anything about this? Nope. Griffin just going to give that one up, try and clear out some vision. And Shelly's also going to stay in her den as well. So 18 minutes. Now we'll need to start that Rift Herald ASAP if she is actually going to be utilized this game.
I wonder if Oblivion Orb is going to be the next pickup, as Sword is going to have to use some of the CC. If Oblivion Orb will be the next pickup from Viper, because then he'll have double Magic Pan. Pilot's gone Iceborne Gauntlet for comp. He's not against a Jace, which is usually where we see the Iceborne Gauntlet. He's against a Yasuo, so he's gone for the armor there. But double Magic Pen will be basically true damage on these auto Q trades from the Teemo in lane. And the Morellonomicon gets massive value against the Gragas and the Cho'Gath in particular. So I think Oblivion Orb would be a really nice pickup for the Teemo at this present point.
And the other thing that's really going well for Griffin when it comes to the Teemo pickup is that we're still in a laning phase. It's close to 20 minutes into the game. We haven't had a turret go down yet. We just had the Rift Herald taken. It's good news for Sword. He wants to be laning for as long as possible in his positive matchup. And Tarzan, he's been able to get around this map, do what he wants, and the Teemo sitting in that lane is happily just laning and laning and laning, shooting Max in the face with blinding darts, things like that. And MVP haven't been able to take down the turret with their regular marksman.
And it's even worse than that, Atlas, because they haven't been able to take down the turret with the regular marksman who has a range advantage and also multiple gank spot side as well, with a lot of jungle and mid laner time wasted. So it's even more of a pressing concern for MVP that they messed up some of their timings around the dive. First brick, solo, first turret blood gold does go the way of Sword, who now is going to have plenty of items on his recall.
Yeah, Black Cleaver actually picked up as his first item. Wants to get all of that CDR, went from 0 to 20%. One fell swoop. That feels great as the Gnar.
And this game will go from 0 to 60 when Yasuo is also able to hit the side wave. And we get the 1-3-1 that clearly Griffin are building towards with the team comp they have.
Yep, Tarzan even able to take down another Rift Scuttler. Griffin have had complete jungle control as well this game, it feels like. Yondu, he's been focusing bottom side, yes, but otherwise the rest of the map has belonged to Griffin. They were able to take the Rift Herald without any contest at all, and we saw in all of our recent series that every time that damn thing gets started, there is a battle.
Something getting started is the Rift Herald in the mid lane. It's going to be most of the turret, and Sword walks down at the same time. Very nice map movement here from Griffin.
Perfect Gnar as well as he sidesteps that one. Easily take down the second turret of the game on the bottom side. First brick went to the Gnar on his own. That was how he was able to afford the Black Cleaver, of course, as Shelly's dealt with, but the map is in shambles, and Griffin still hold on to this bottom lane.
And MVP in some ways have been dealt with, Atlas, and the reason why I say that is it's a third game of Zoe and Ezreal today. Zoe Ezreal got a 3-turret to 0 lead in multiple series already, but now the sieging comp that wants to safely load up in a short lane and siege has no turrets. The comp against it that wants to go 1-3-1 has 2 turrets down already, and the game plan around hitting the mid lane with the Luden's Echo on the mid laner and also 2-item Ezreal, that time has already passed with a gold lead to Griffin and a turret lead to Griffin.
Yeah, it's getting really, really difficult to deal with. And it's only going to become more oppressive when, like you were talking about, the 1-3-1 that is so strong from Griffin becomes enacted. Because then you need about 4 people in order to take down one in a side lane, and the rest of your map is going to disintegrate before your eyes.
And if you ever try to collapse and you just walk over 4 shrooms or your timings are off, there's so many ways you can control the river with the Teemo that actually collapsing on the 1 in the 1-3-1, whether it is top or bot, is going to be really an exercise in frustration for MVP.
Well, it's already an exercise in frustration for MVP, Papa, because there's a Teemo in this game.
Zoning exhaust there as Max wants to change summoners.
Yeah. Oh, man. Spellbook is like slightly less annoying Zoe when it comes to trying to work out why summoner spells are just being used for no reason on the map.
But of course, with the 1 to 10 being quite close to 10 with the Zoe, so it's still pretty damn annoying.
Yeah, that's very true. Although, she's not annoying at all this game. That award is going to go solely to Viper as, okay, we're going to have a last breath in the mid lane. It's a decent cast to make it a little bit of a problem, but that's a better ultimate to come out from Tarzan. And ADD, he's got the Righteous Glory, but he's just not going to be there in time.
Because he doesn't have priority in the top, even though he's closer. He can't walk early. He always has to be waiting to see what the Gnar is going to do. By the time he's there, the kill already happens. I think Chovy is definitely the best Yasuo player on this team. Thought Viper was a bit too gung-ho and when to choose his last breaths, and that was pretty noticeable when we saw him playing it last series. So I see Chovy on it. Viper's walking up 1v2 because Tarzan is here.
Yep, Lehens is down here as well, but thankfully Battle Dance from Max is going to mean that he's very safe. And Viper going to continue being annoying. Tarzan just blocking to try and get more cooldown for these shrooms to come in. Viper wanting to litter this lane as much as possible. Yondu turns up, making this a 3 versus 3. Is okay. Lehens going to be able to get a Battle Dance out of Max. Not exactly the hugest cooldown to trade for a headbutt pole. But testing the waters. 3.2 thousand gold in the lead. Griffin, they've got themselves the Infernal Drake. Cloud Drake going to be coming next. Earth, Wind, and Fire again.
Wit's End is turned on just as the Hyper is hit level 5. So ADT really would rather deal with this Mega Gnar, because Mini Gnar is very annoying. And in fact, I often think of Mini Gnar as another version of Teemo, and we also have Teemo on the same team.
Yeah.
Double Teemo.
Oh, God. That is not what you want.
No.
You never want
double Rainbows are great.
Yeah, never want a double Teemo, though. That just feels unfair. As Tarzan looking to steal away a red buff, which also feels unfair for Yondu, who's not really owned a jungle so far this game. She's going to reset. Brown back will walk back home, and that will mean that Gragas is probably able to take it. But you can see they're scared. They don't really want to move down here. Ezreal was in base, and Griffin just have control everywhere on this map. It's all been opened up, and you can see they wanted to get that global gold, but it's just not there. The bottom lane outer turret hasn't been touched since that first time, and now Griffin should be handed this dragon pretty close, pretty easily, and there might even be shrooms that deal with the minion wave moving towards the base as well. MVP are going to at least answer the dragon, so that wasn't free, but the rest of the control around this map certainly is.
Heartbreaking thing from the MVP side is it was one of those cases of right person, wrong time. I liked what they were doing around Bob, but the timing was off both times they did it, and then Griffin made the clutch plays, and now things like this are going to happen.
Yep, the ultimate's going to be used. Ian is able to get out of at least 1 CC with the cleanse, but he's straight up dead. Chovy, too much damage availability, and that's only with 2 items, not the Infinity Edge. This could go from bad to worse very fast for MVP.
A different game where they got that bot lane turret and had Ezreal in the mid lane to end this Yasuo's reign of dominance. Then maybe MVP win it, but in this game, 2 mid lane turrets to 0 for the damn Yasuo in the Zoe lane. Very long mid lane that no one is going to be able to patrol. Soon it's going to be filled with shrooms. And Griffin styling on the team of MVP. There may be a Teemo in this game, but Teemo has been the least influential character on the side of Griffin.
He's basically irrelevant. Tarzan's pretty much won this entire game
they could have had
Griffin so far.
They could have had a Criddle Sticks and the game would have gone the same.
Yeah, or a crit clock. Oh man, did you remember the really confusing thing about Crit Zillion was that he didn't have a crit animation. So you know how you used to be able to tell when you were going to get crit? You can't tell when it's a Zillion.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
There you go. Things I learned.
The reason he didn't have a crit animation is because you'd have to be pretty insane to build crit on a Zillion.
Hey man, Prey was halfway there. He was playing bot lane AD Zillion. So by AD I mean awesome dude. He wasn't actually building attack damage.
Yeah.
Gnar.
Okay, gonna get spotted here as he actually just wants to throw things at Max and Yondu. They're trying to get some control around this Baron. Of course, MVP always do. 26.5 minutes into the game, haven't really seen much of the big purple guy for quite some time.
Oh, Leandries.
Oh, God, yeah. And double BF sword for Chovy as well.
Well,
What?
I don't really know what a 5v5 looks like that Chovy doesn't die instantly in, that MVP can win. And remember, their comp was the Siege dream of we go to a short lane, put down control wards, start lobbing down spikes, which are the Mystic Shot and the Paddle Star in this analogy, and then the enemy fails an all-in or just loses their turret in front of them. However, now there's so many long lanes for them to get flanked from, and also a significant gold lead the way of Griffin. That means the game plan is gone, and yeah, looking like a rough one for MVP.
Yeah, and think about what a game does to you after you win or you lose. You know, we talk about mentality a lot, we talk about psychology a lot. What happens when you lose to a team? In competitive, like in the LCK 2018.
Oh, I was going to say you just get out of your chair, you close the League of Legends game, and you do something else. Which is probably what's going to happen at the end of this as well.
My recommendation would be get out of your chair, close the League of Legends game, and throw your computer out the window. But that might be the more extreme approach.
You're clearly getting paid more for this gig than I am, because I can't afford to do that every time I lose to a team.
I certainly can't afford it. I guarantee you that much. I love my computer. Would never throw it out the window. But Teemo does make you do pretty crazy things, as I'm sure all of you guys at home are aware of. Okay, Blade of the Ruin King completed here for Pilot, so he's hit about peak performance, 20 CS ahead of the Teemo at the moment, but both of them right on the clock when it comes to that one. Zhonya's Hourglass could be the next option here for Viper, as he's got a broken stopwatch sitting in his back pocket. The main thing we ought to talk about, though, is the fact that Chovy has got the Infinity Edge. He's 1-0-1, he's behind, he's ahead in farm by about 1 trillion. That's about 50 CS is going to be the lead.
There's definitely a meanwhile at sword situation going on as well, as he had just bought a straight up blade. So he also is something that the Cho'Gath can't itemize for. And look, it's a 1-3-1 going to be threatened.
And look at all of the shrooms that are flanking this Teemo, who's just bunkered down. We were talking about bunker compositions. This is looking like the bunker 3 of the 1-3-1.
The cool thing you can do as a Teemo comp in competitive is you know the enemy team's going to overload on sweepers, so hold the point.
Yep, there's the knock-up, and Yondu, he's going to have to flash. Does use the cast pretty nicely, but there's the follow-up ultimate to come in from Tarzan. Max is just going to get eaten alive. Chovy free hitting in the front line like a beast. And the Yasuo is going to be able to get them 2 kills, and Griffin look like they're moving towards Baron.
Never looked like getting any less than 2 kills, Atlas. A pentakill if there was a grouped enemy. Conqueror procs. He still has his flash. He still has his cleanse.
So much true damage now that the Infinity Edge is done as well. You mentioned the Conqueror to add on to it. And now the Baron has been started by Griffin. ADD, he wants to be near there. He does have teleport available. And of course, MVP want to try and fight for this. Ian has picked up a smite, which is very important. As Viper does avoid the trouble bubble, they're going to pull off it. They don't want to get in there and risk this smite being utilized.
Respecting the level 16 smite, Atlas. The biggest smite was available to the Zoe.
Yeah, I think it's intelligent that they pulled away.
There's always going to be a better spot. They almost can't lose a 5v5 unless Chovy gives away his life. He walks up. It takes a little while for him to gap close, but once he starts doing damage, needs no introduction. Just how much damage he does. 4 shots to Rakan with just auto attacks. He is monstrously strong.
I have to say that Tarzan has looked brilliant on this Sejuani today as well. Really flawless engages, understanding when to engage as well, moving around the map really nicely. It's been beautiful play from Tarzan again today. Probably won't get the MVP, but that seems to be Tarzan's lot so far in the LCK.
Just a small point I wanted to get to about the choice of a sweeper or blue trinket or yellow trinket against a Teemo comp. We're going to watch this replay.
That's
ended up being 2 people.
To try and get, Sword out of here. Does use Blade of the Ruin King. Desperately wants to turn back. Into Mininar has to use the flash in order to survive. Remember, Sword actually does have fleet footwork as well this game, which is an odd choice, but a cool one. Give him extra mobility.
For situations where being ganked, it can be important. If you're the team MVP, you want to take sweepers to try to deal with the Teemo shrooms. That means you have less blue trinkets, and you can actually still play a really strong Baron game. Whatever the choice is against Teemo, less sweepers, they step on shrooms. More sweepers, they don't have spot vision. So when it comes to the Baron setup here for Griffin, they kill off the Rift Scuttler. They have already so many shrooms in the area, and you're damned if you do, damned if you don't, if you're MVP.
And look at all these shrooms around the Baron pit as well. MVP understanding that, Griffin understanding that MVP do like to start Barons, and maybe they'll just walk into the pit and die to a Teemo because there's just shrooms all over it. And now Viper's having a pretty good time here now with his 3 items. As we crest the end of the mid game, moving into the late game territory now with our main builds basically completed. Got a Void Staff on the way here for Ian by the looks of things with that blasting one, but Last Whisper's done for Pilot. The Ezreal is getting towards some items, but you just look at the Yasuo and you feel, what is MVP going to do? He's even got a stopwatch there. And Griffin in so much control. 7,000 gold the lead, almost exactly. And, MVP can clear out some vision, clear out some shrooms by running into them. But, it's really hard to get towards this Baron that Griffin on the cusp of starting.
Major problem for the Ezreal here is that you want a good, honest front-to-back team fight. It just never will happen against the team you're against. They've got so many different ways to make a fight dishonest, whether it is those shrooms, as we mentioned. They also have Yasuo Wind Wall to cut down damage. It's very difficult for pilots to get the sort of fight that a Ezreal can profit in. And that is the struggle they have to deal with. They put down some control wards. They now have to go back and refill the control wards just to even have a path to get to something like the Baron. And Viper says, I'd like a blue buff, 40% CDR, and to return to the scene of the crime, which in this case is the Baron.
Yep, he is going to be able to do that easily. Of course, Griffin relinquishing a lot of control so that they could give Tarzan a decent back as well. He goes back and finishes off his Warmogs as well as that Gargoyle's Stone Plate. He is well and truly sorted out on this Sejuani. And Griffin now going to come back, litter the area with shrooms, continue the frustration here for MVP. They have slowed down as far as their assault on the enemy base is concerned, but Griffin just want to enact this 1-3-1 and continue the pressure.
Ian changed his blue trinket to a sweeper to help out with the sweeping mission. Remember, that means they only have 1 blue trinket for the spot check.
Well, also, Chovy's in a whole host of trouble. Does get the knock-up, though. Just explodes Max. It's another double. Pilot's going to be taken down. This looks like the ridiculous Yasuo's in your solo queue as he picks up basically 3 kills on his own, and the rest of the team turns up.
Who's ganking who in that case?
Good
1v4.
God.
If he's not CC, he's going to be able to do it. They're tanking out the turret. They don't even give a mundo about this one. Goodbye, turret. They're going to break the base, and ADD says, guys, I came back from the hospital for this.
Yeah, and like, Chovy just made it look like he was smurfing in the LCK. What? We haven't... What? MVP are going to lose their top lane inhibitor turret. The inhibitor going to follow as well, and I have a feeling this game might just be over. Chovy continuing to utilize the gigantic amount of money he has. Stopwatch going to be utilized by ADD, but that's going to delay the inevitable. His health bar evaporates like he's not even a tank. As Max slowed down, not going to get gnarred into the wall, but see you later, Nexus and Griffin. A 2-0 over MVP, and Teemo has a win in the LCK.
I believe it is the first ever victory for Teemo in the LCK. Has been played in exhibition matches, but in this case, in a professional match, Teemo picks up the victory. It was a last-second turnover, so we don't actually know if it was the intentional pick or not. Thankfully, Viper already won MVP in game number 1, and that is a gimme question for our interviewers when we go along. But the non-gimme was, and kind of the quandary here when I think about it is, Griffin need to win every series 2-0 in order to guarantee first spot, guarantee that they finish in the top 2 by going straight to the grand final thanks to the gauntlet. They still play Teemo. If they drop a game and 2-0, 2-0, 2-0, 2-0 happens for Gen G, they actually have to play a best of 1 for first.
Yeah.
Instead, they take the Teemo, they win. It doesn't end up being consequential. So it's still a very surprising thing to see the Teemo, and now it has a victory.
It does. Didn't quite see it do ridiculous things, didn't understand a game plan that was absolutely amazing. This, however, certainly was. The Yasuo from Chovy, unbelievable. Of course, very strong, very fed at the time. And with the backup of Lehens, he's able to just jump forward, take down all the members of MVP in a matter of seconds. And despite summoner spells and everything, he's just able to run over the top basically by himself.
Chovy smiling, getting a win on not Zoe or Orianna. A bit of a rare thing in recent memory for Chovy. Nice to see him have a day out. I do believe he's the best Yasuo player on the side, and given how many champions Viper plays, that is still Not going to be a big down moment on Viper. He seems to be the best team mode player on the team. I don't know what that means either. MVP, the body language isn't good, but it's good to see ADD back. He was certainly not the reason his team went down in this series. He had to deal with this rubbish of Gnar just auto-attacking him a million times.
And doing a whole butt ton of damage as well. That 21k for the Gnar is no slouch. Certainly against his lane opponent, but against an Ezreal to have an Gnar out-damage you that significantly is pretty amazing. He did have a bit of a meat wall to take down in form of the Cho'Gath, but it's all about that 16,000 you can see on your screen. Chovy doing it at all the right times, utilizing Last Breath really nicely. The way him and Tarzan played together this game was like mind meld levels of jungle mid synergy. Looked really, really good between the two.
Yeah, Tarzan definitely had one of those jungling pathing performances where it feels like he was on the Trundle, which is usually where he wows us, the Sejuani. Pretty wowing as well, and his Zac is not half bad either. So, comfortable 2-0 for the side of Griffin. We'll see who the MVP here is for game number 2. I hope it's not Viper.
If it's Viper, I'm going to be very, very bothered, but it's Chovy, 5-0-4. My vote, just to admit to you guys, went to Tarzan. I felt like he controlled the early game really, really nicely, but you can't deny the fact that Chovy was team fighting like a beast on this Yasuo.
Laning phase was good too against the Zoe, which is not necessarily a matchup. The Yasuo auto wins, so some very nice moments for him, but eventually we saw the Q flashes come through to open up the ultimate. That's how the Sejuani has to set up the Last Breath, and was able to do that again and again. Saw a lot of moments where he could get kills, and he made some of his own win walls and his own knockups as well. Nice game from Chovy. Very promising player. We're still not 100% sure how wide his champion pool is, but when it's right in the middle of his champion pool, the results are usually very explosive.
Yeah. And when he's a Yasuo that has an Infinity Edge in the late game, it also looks pretty damn good, but this, the pinnacle of Yasuo play that we've seen from mid lane so far, I feel, being able to get that knock-up as he was flying back in the explosive cast, pretty ludicrous to make sure that he was able to perform that feat of 1 versus 3. So it is going to be Chovy. Him and Viper are going to sit down now for the MVP interview. So let's throw it over to Joel for some translation and some explanation on the team.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Joel with your interview translations, and we're here with Griffin. Just got the win with a Teemo. That's the end statement. If you guys haven't watched it, be sure to watch the VODs and see how the Teemo dominated in that game number 2. But in the meantime, we're going to go to the interview with Griffin, Viper, and also Chovy winning out as well. I think the biggest question in the world, what was that all about? I thought it fit to the composition, and I thought it worked well. What does that even mean? Well, the opposition ADC is not their earliest power laner, so trying to just pressure it in lane. Teemo was a possibility. So you think the composition comes out more often now? I mean, you got to talk about the possibilities of Teemo dying out depending on the opponent's composition. Chovy, I'm sorry that we are supposed to talk to you right now, but it feels like Viper's getting all the attention right now. And you really were putting all the aggro onto the bot lane. The top lane really just flourished because of that. I know that, as the opponent team, they're just really irritated to see a Teemo, so I understand their feelings. But I think it does pull a lot more aggro than any other champions in the game, so I think definitely it worked to that extent. Well, it was not an accident, a prepared pick, confirmed, and he gets a gift for that. And you did get the game too, but what's the most important thing is that Chovy actually won this game for Griffin. Well, we'll see it. I mean, who's better at the Yasuo? I think for today, I'm a little bit better today. That confidence is a good one for Chovy, and we'll see how you guys did so well with these champions utilization. We do get to talk to you about how the whole game went along. For game one, it was really important to push the aggression, and really was just a dominating performance. And altogether, feels like MVP should have went over to Tarzan for some instances. We remember making key plays there. Well, personally, every game that we do, I don't think it would be wrong for Tarzan to get MVP of every single game. So, but it's something that Zach isn't a usual pick for him. So it's good to see him do well, but kind of sad that he didn't get the MVP. But was given to me, so I'm thankful for that as well. Well, I mean, it's kind of the strength and weaknesses at the same time for Tarzan. The fact that he does well every game makes it kind of non-special for some of these MVP-worthy games. But let's look at some of the highlights and see what we have to find out from the games. And the Ezreal damage went up pretty impressively high at one point in the game. And then Nara and the cannon, we had to worry about the Shen at all times, and I was trying to just see that power spike that we had to make sure we go aggressive on those instances. And now you just feel as if, what timing was that, that you had to go aggressive? And when I got that cleanse, I was able to, go pretty aggressive, not knowing of the instances where it would kill me. So yeah, I had to be pretty safe, but at the same time, having those summoner spells does help me be a little more aggressive. Feels like it's very evidential in terms of why you make certain plays, and from the first set, you talk about the second set being a very surprising pick with obviously with the team, but with the Yasuo at the mid lane, what was that all about? I think we were feeling pretty good about our picks, so. And for Griffin, it feels as if obviously the head coach leading the charge with the picks and bans, but I feel like it's very systematic. And what do you feel about the team, honestly? I mean, it's Viper, so he can play any champion he wants, and he should be fine. And I think even if he goes with York or something like that, it should be fine as well. What about Garen? I've never seen him play the Garen, but I don't think maybe it should be the top priority, but it definitely should be there. I would trust him with it. Well, Yasuo is going to be still the topic of the question, and we're going to talk about how well he did on that specific pick. And just really, knockbacks. Why did you feel as if you had to go in there on? I was pushing the lane, and they were trying to come in all at once, so. And really, I just tried to go in with the ultimate because I got the knockup and ended up killing everyone. And really, you just had to just watch that from behind because the teamo just can't run as fast. It was too far away, so I wasn't gonna go. But the Yasuo, I already caught out Rakan, so I feel like I didn't have to go, but in the end, I ended up being a good thing where the other teammates helped out. Well, we could have definitely just ran up to provide the heal and whatnot, but all that came through was that Griffin really pushing this really big game, and of course now you have this next game that really was all about winning such a big game one, and game two coming a little bit lightweight in the terms of how you guys handle that game. So what do you think the kind of the dynamics is that too? And for us, we just try to get the picks that look good, and we try to practice it out first during scrims, and whenever situationally it works, then we just put it out. Sometimes we do make situations where we make mistakes on those picks and bans. But I think we try not to worry about that initially, so we just try to pick the champions that we trust, and that's what we try to go with our instincts to think that we're right for everything that we do. Really, just a scary just a proposition that you guys can pick anything you want as long as it's practiced and as long as it's researched makes it right. And of course, other than the strategic pick, do you feel maybe you want to place a unique champion of your own? I've never really thought of such a champion. I don't think there is really anything to play. So it's really serious when we ask those very unserious questions, but it is the first win for the LCK for the Teemo. And now you have basically the history written with getting a win on the Teemo. You want to say something about that? Obviously, of course, everybody around the world is going to be listening to you hear a speech about the Teemo. Teemo, I mean, it's great. I mean, you can throw the mushroom pretty far away, so I think if you can utilize that to the best potential, and it's a decent champion. I don't wish that you guys like the Teemo, but if you do think about it once every now and then, you might just play it. It's not bad, is the conclusion that Viper put out for the champion Teemo, as if anybody around the world do not know that fact, but we are now looking at Griffin in a very good first place lead, and how do you guys feel after that? We do always become thankful of all the fans cheering out for us, and we do have remaining games, and we're going to try our best to get the wins as much as we can. And Griffin obviously dynamic in the terms of their composition today, but still translates into a win. What's to stop them? We don't know. I don't know, but maybe you guys have a little bit of an idea. But that's going to be the end of the interview with Griffin as we end the interview and handing it back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Joel. And yes, if Griffin can win with Teemo, what the hell's going to be able to stop them, Papa Smithy? That's my question. We know Gen G figured it out. We know KT Rolster figured it out, but now they're armed with a Teemo and anything could happen. But as for the result, it was a 2-0 victory for Griffin in the end.
Great to hear from Viper and Chovy, both of them 17 years young, and both of them the next generation of stars here in Korea. Both of them match winners on their day. It was both their days with Chovy in game number 2. After Tarzan gave them the assist, he ran away with the game, and the best are able to do that. End result, Griffin are now 11-4 because of their game score lead over Gen G. Gen G don't actually control their own fate. If Griffin win their final remaining 3 matches, which includes a now tantalizing match against improving SK Telecom T1 next week. If Griffin win them all 2-0, there's nothing that can change. They will finish first, and they will be in the grand final at Samsung World Gymnasium on September 8th.
And as for our previous result as well, which was a long time ago now, with Kingzone Dragon X picking up their victory over the FLICKR Freaks. They are now 10-5. The top of the table is switching around so much. Somehow, Papa Smithy, Humwell Life have gone ahead of the FLICKR Freaks and are now vying for playoffs. It's all crazy. Tomorrow night, we are going to have some pretty mental games as well as SKT try and take down Gen G in that semi-final rematch of
the finals of the
World Championship.
Yeah.
Good God. I was thinking about, I'm like, it's been a long night. But there we are. I got it.
And for everyone at home, if you see any of those top teams playing, it doesn't really matter who they're facing. They're going to be important matches because every team in the top 5 needs to be winning 2-0 to set themselves up for jumping up the gauntlet and skipping best of 5s. For OGN, you and I should be back on Wednesday next week. Atlas, BBQ versus Gen G, SKT versus FLICKR. SK Telecom can both play spoiler and still make top 5, depending on how results go. So there's no trivial games really in the LCK right now, because at the top and at the bottom, it's so damn volatile that nothing is for sure.
And even if between the two teams that we're actually watching, nothing actually matters, the position on the ladder by match score matters no matter where you are. I said matter about 6 times in that sentence. But that's because it matters so damn much, Papa Smithy. So I'm really excited to see how this closes out because we're within 2 weeks of the LCK wrapping for the regular season, and we're getting towards those playoffs to see who we're going to be sending to Worlds this year that's going to be here in Korea. Good God. The excitement levels are like way eclipsing any sort of KT roster.
Well, you need a chill pill, Atlas, and you guys at home will do too. If just a little suggestion, the LPL is running right now, so twitch.tv/LPL1 is in fact EDGIG, so a big match over there if you want some more League of Legends to watch. Back tomorrow for more. The LCK in uproar. It's so close at the top. Griffin right now leading, but they could hiccup at any moment, Atlas, and even a single game loss could be the hiccup that allows Gen G to force a best of one.
And also, they
tiebreaker.
could be first place, and then we haven't seen them in best of fives until we get to the LCK final. That ain't hype. I don't know what is. It's going to be out of control. But guys, that is going to be it for us tonight. It's been one of the sparingly short ones that we haven't had very much of, but that's going to be it for us. So we'll see you tomorrow night over at the Next On Arena for more LCK. But for now, good night.